we have this webinar on leadership with humanism and compassion, power of passion. So today again we are with us eminent speaker, Honorable Pro Vice Chancellor of Kalinga Institute of Industrial Technology, which is a deemed university as well as an institution of eminence. So she has lots of academic experience, research experience, ample of research, international research papers, and which I personally like the most is her administrative expertise, her leadership quality, her approach of managing people, approach of managing institutions, approach of managing different forums. So looking at that expertise, I personally am more interested to listen from her. So without wasting much time, I request ma'am to deliver a talk on the topic leadership with humanism and compassion, power of passion.
Thank you, Jyoti. Thank you, Professor Jyoti, for the nice introduction about leadership and its prospects and its contemporary issues today. Good evening to all present here. I would like to thank each one of the participants present today in this webinar because of your keen interest in the subject, and I hope that each one of you present here must have certain, I can say that certain affiliation, certain interest in this field of leadership, because I think that today in this globe, when we are struggling with lot many issues, before January 2020, we are struggling with other issues, starting from the economic issues, the human issues, the issues of migration. Lot many issues were there, and issues of gender, the healthcare issues. But after after January 2020, we are facing another one issue which has added to the issues of this globe. But with that, I hope that with all types of issues and problems in last 5.5 months, the whole humanity or the whole world is struggling to struggling with the pandemic, and is trying to ensure that the life should continue as it was continuing previously. Each one of us trying our level best. I find that all the service industries, particularly the software industries, they have devised the mechanism how 10% of their workers will work from home and they will contribute for the growth of the organization, for growth of the economy, and for their own growth. And being in education, I have witnessed personally that all the, I can say that all the educational institutions, starting from the primary school up to the higher education, everybody has put their effort to contribute for this sector, and and they're ensuring that the learning what was happening in the campuses, that should not stop. And which shows that each one of the teacher in this country, they are so passionate for their profession. Each one of the teacher in this country, each one of the educational professionals in this country, they are so passionate for that purpose. They are so passionate for the purpose, for the profession. And why I tell the purpose? Because if we talk to any teacher in this country, they are having a different type of pride with them. Apart from being a teacher, they are very much proud. They are educating the next generation. So that affiliation to that purpose perhaps is making them different and forcing them to think beyond their assignment, that even in the case of pandemic, how they can contribute to connect to their students, and the learning can continue. And when this pandemic will be over, this generation kids or this generation youth should not suffer a lot. So that affiliation, that commitment for a particular purpose, perhaps we say it as a passion. So while studying the leadership, I have come across different subjects. It's various variation of subjects, starting from the leadership theories, the value addition, then empowering the people with the skill of communication, the importance of communication. Then with that, how the power plays a major role in leadership skill. So by studying around 10 to 12 paper, I thought that let's have a discussion on leadership and with humanism and compassion, because humanism and compassion is the part of my studies, whatever studies, literature studies I have done in my career or in my research, and I have executed in my profession itself. And with that, I felt that let's study the power of passion in different sectors, how it adds values to the profession, how it adds values to the life, and at the end, how it adds values to the society and to the lives. So that was my basic purpose. So while talking about the passion, some of the definitions given by the practitioner had appealed me a lot. Of course, there are many academicians, starting from Jeffrey Pfeffer, the Stephanus, the few professors in IIM. I am also interacting with them. Some of the industrialists, their definition had appealed me a lot. While I was coming through the literature, the definition given by the Warren Buffett, he said that there comes a time when you ought to start doing what you want to do and take a job that you love. You will jump out of the bed in the morning, and I think you are out of your mind if you keep taking jobs that you have done, like because you think it will look good on your resume. It happens with each one of us. While we go to choose our career after education, normally while we think to choose the job as per our passion, at that point of time, lots of pressures comes in our ways. And while the pressures, those pressures, some are the social pressures, some are the pressures from the parents, some are the issues that we think that perhaps this work will give me more success than I was striving for since my childhood, or for the work I am very much passionate. We also, being in educational institution, come across many students, those who are pursuing engineering or medical, but they never wanted to affiliate themselves to that profession during first or second year or third year of studies. But slowly we find, while they go to the higher semesters, higher years, maybe after doing the job in that profession, slowly they develop their little bit affiliation for that. I found that around 10% of them, after completing the education, they do the job in the concerned field, but they with the job, they try to follow their passion, and with job, either they whatever they aspire to do in their life, it may be photography, maybe fashion designing. Sometimes we say that somebody wants to do the filmmaking. So with the job, they continue with that. But Warren Buffett, in his definition, he says that if you are making the passion your job, then maybe your career will be something different. Coming to another one definition given by Richard Brandt, who is the founder of Virgin Mind, he said that passion is one of the most effective motivators when it comes to launching the business, and often one of the strongest predictors of whether an idea will lead to success. But what happens when you have an idea that is not necessarily related to your passion? When you believe in something, the force of your conviction will spark other people's interest and motivate them to help you achieve your goal. While we come to the entrepreneurship, if I am very much clear about my objective, my vision, my mission, when I say that my vision and mission is very clear and it should be understood by each one of the employee in the organization, and I say that my objective is properly defined and everybody should try to follow this. Normally, all the entrepreneurs, all the leaders in position, they communicate it repeatedly to their staff, to the people they are associated with the organization many times. And while they communicate this so strongly, perhaps we never leave any scope for them for any type of adjustment. That means if I have decided any objective for the people, those who are working for me, it should be so clear and it should be so broad that each one of the people contributing for that purpose, they should get a scope to affiliate their vision, their mission of their life to this objective itself. Suppose a person, today morning I was discussing with a person who of one very leading company, Microsoft, those who are going to launch one new academic solution after this pandemic. And while discussing with them, they are telling me several times that this solution, this industry is not doing for the business. Now after the corona pandemic, we are very much committed for the purpose of education. We are committed for educating the next generation. We are coming with this solution because it will help the teachers or it will help the academic institutions of the globe to use this solution to educate the next generation. That means their vision, mission, objective, they have not confined only developing a particular technical solution for a technical purpose. While they are defining their vision, they are making their vision so broad that everybody, those who are in and around them, those who are those who have come to them to contribute for that organization, they can affiliate themselves for that to that vision. Because normally after a while the youth come from the academic institution, they come with a very broad aspiration. Somebody wants to contribute for the society, somebody wants to contribute for a particular technology, wants to grow with that. They make the they are maybe having the passion to grow different type of technology in their lives. And some people come that they will create some social impact in the world, and creating the social impact, perhaps it becomes the part and parcel of everybody's life. So while defining the vision and mission and objective, we should be very much clear that it can match to the objective of the individual, and they can connect to it very passionately. Steve Jobs says that entrepreneurs need the passion, they need it, but many confuse it with an emotional high, and passion runs far deeper and stronger. He says it is more than an emotion, faith, action, and affiliation. They say that for each one of the entrepreneur, the passion is very much required. Steve Jobs always, he has said in different occasions that for an entrepreneur, being passionate for a particular purpose is very much required. I know that when Steve Jobs came back again to the Apple, in between he was removed from Apple, he worked somewhere else, and he rejoined in Apple in perhaps in 2007, the exact year, I don't remember, perhaps in 2007 or 2012. He came back to Apple again. And while he rejoined in Apple, he was doing marketing from iMac, the best, now the Apple iMac, I think one of the most popular computer in Apple. And he said in his iMac publication meeting to the people that this is iMac, perhaps this is the best of the world, and I use the iMac. So that was his strong words to the public, those who are waiting for him for release of the iMac. He said that this iMac perhaps is the best in the total laptop, in the total whatever laptop is available in this world, it is one of the best. So that was his words while he released this machine. And after releasing the iMac, again Apple revived. We all know that when Steve Jobs left Apple, then Apple faced lots of loss. And again, Apple board of directors were forced to bring Steve Jobs back. And because of his passion for the Apple itself, because of his passion for the purpose that he will give the best product in this line to the world, perhaps he could do that and he could bring Apple back to the business. Then while we think about designing a high impact organization, as I said that while we design the vision, mission and objective, we should never ignore its social impact. And while we should design the high impact organization, we should define a high impact objective, whatever I'm talking about. And after defining the high impact objective, we should connect it to the individual aspirations. The people, those who are working for us, we should list their aspiration. What the people we are getting, what really their aspiration is. They want to grow in a particular technology. Those people want to work for the society. Those people want to create some impact. The people, those who want to only work, they want to earn money and go back. What type of people, what type of crowd we are getting in our organization? After doing the thorough analysis of the aspiration of the people in the organization, then it is the responsibility of the leadership of the organization to connect them to the objective with different, by devising different solutions for this. If they want to create some social impact, in Google we have seen that they have created different avenues for the workers. Sometimes they are developing the Google Passion. The people, those are interested to do something other than the job, they also give scope for them. Suppose I am a developer, but I want to follow my passion in music, they also give the avenues for their workers to go for that. If I am a technical developer, I want to build my career in technology, but I want to follow the passion of serving the society, or I want to follow my passion for adding values to the education, then through different tools, through different mechanisms, they try to catch their aspiration of the people and try to connect them to that aspiration itself. Then provide enough freedom to take the decisions. When there are multiple, when one organization designs a tool for connecting the people to the system, if I am having around 1,000 workers, I cannot develop 1,000 systems. I have to collect the data. Then I should consolidate the data and divide it into the 5 broad categories or 10 broad categories according to the nature of the data I have collected. Then I should make a plan how to connect to the people through those tools to the organization itself. So while I am connecting the people to the organization through different tools, maybe it may not match 100% to the aspiration of the people, what they have asked for from the organization itself. So I have to give enough freedom to my workers to take the decision that really what they want to do. They would like to follow the system which is matching 30% of their aspiration, or they want to follow the system which is matching 40% of the aspiration, or they want to follow the system which is matching 20% of the aspiration, what they really want to do. Suppose in software industries, what happens, they work for different organizations. They work for manufacturing, they work for hotels, they work for financial organization, they work in different verticals. Then while they select the people and they recruit from the diverse group, and they collect and they try to collect the data about their passion, their aspiration, and they categorize that, then they find that different type of people are matching to the different verticals. And while they are matching to the while they try to align those verticals, at that point of time, there are different type of situation arises for the organization. And at that point of time, the organization should not take the decision. They should always give the freedom to the workers to take the decision that really what they want to pursue. And if a person is deciding to pursue something else, something like they want to go on finance vertical, and throughout his job, the freedom or autonomy should be there with the person to take the decision. And fourth is that create the create the strong system for creating the social impact through the organization itself. Then after defining the high objective, if the organization is able to connect the people to that objective, then provide enough freedom to take the decision, then only the organization can create strong social impact through that organization, and the organization can get success, and the people also through that organization, they will get success. And at that point of time, the satisfaction level of the survey says that at that point of time, the satisfaction level of the organization and the people, it goes much higher than 70 to 80%. Jeffrey Before of Stanford Graduate School of Business, he says that leadership can never be executed without power. And for him, the power comes through different means. It does not only come through the positions, the delegation of the authorities, or the responsibilities given to a person in an organization. He says that to get power for an individual person, he should have the knowledge about the organization and about the job he is doing. If that person is having total control or total knowledge about a system, then only he can have the control on the system and control on the job he is leading for. And second, he says that a person should be very much aware about his strengths and weaknesses. And third is, he or she should be able to make the good strategies. He or she should make the good strategies to follow. And fourth is the social relationship. Jeffrey Before, in all his books, in most of his researches, he has mostly focused on relationship. He says that we get a job for relationship. When we come, we appear the interviews, the relationship we are able to build up there in the interview place itself with the interviewers and the skills required from you, that relationships give you the job. If you are getting promotion in the organization, that promotion you get because of the relationship you maintain with your subordinates, the relationship you maintain with your job, relationship you maintain with your superiors. And fourth, he says that each and every leader should try to create reputation in his or her peers or in his or her profession itself. Without reputation in the particular field, he or she can never be a good leader, because if your work is not appreciated in your peers, if your work is not appreciated by the people you lead, if your work is not appreciated by the similar type of organization, those who are working in different parts of the globe in the same area, if you have not earned that level of reputation, you can never command the respect from the people you are leading. Fifth is that getting love and appreciation from one and all. Normally it happens, the leaders, while they present themselves, while they communicate with the public, while they communicate with the people, they try to ensure that whatever they have visualized, whatever they have planned to achieve, and whatever people perceive about him, that is being maintained properly. So while they do that, they get lots of love and appreciation from the people. Of course, he gets the love and appreciation for the achievements he gets, the social impact he creates, and he contributes for a particular field of technology, engineering, healthcare, or education in any field. But apart from that, in all his behavior, in all his communication, in all his or her presentation, he wants to communicate that strong sense of impact. As such, he or she can get love and appreciation for one and all they are coming across. Then sixth is that a leader should be very much confident and authentic. Then they should be authentic. Always the sometimes the people, they confuse about right or wrong, good or bad. But in business, he says nothing is 10% true, nothing is 10% false, nothing is 10% good, nothing is 10% bad. What in the way you are working, whatever strategy you are making, whatever planning you are doing, whatever execution you are doing, you should be very much confident that you are trying your level best as per the environment prevailing. So if the leader is very much confident about what really he is doing, then only he can communicate with power. He can work with power. So he says that cultivating power is the secret to the success. I was going through a study of Deloitte, the software company, and where they have studied about the workplace passion. The John Hagel and 9 other faculty, the professors, the people in different senior position in Deloitte, they have made these studies jointly, and they have said that how to explore the passion among the employees, those who are working in the organization itself. So while they did the survey in their organization, they had categorized it into 4 broad categories, and they said that the people, the workers, those who are engaged in cross-functional areas, they become the explorer. The 40% of them become the explorer of passion. That means the people, those who are exposed to different functional areas of the organization, they understand the organizational functions well, and they understand the organizational system well. Their likelihood to be the explorer of passion become much more. Then second category, according to them, is that the workers are encouraged to work on projects they are interested. If the organization is encouraging the workers to work on the project they are interested, even on those outside of their responsibilities, then 34% of the workers, they become the explorer. Explorer of knowledge, explorer of passion, explorer of innovator of different things. So they become very much passionate for their job. But always, you see, the number 1 is cross-functionality. Third is that workers are encouraged to connect with others in their industries. If those workers are encouraged to connect with different functional heads, connect to the different people working in different areas, different departments of the organization, then 70% increase in likelihood to be an explorer. Then it becomes the third category. The fourth is that the company often engages with customers to innovate new products and services and ideas. Normally, all the business organizations, they go for the market study, market research, they connect with the customers, they collect the data from them, they collect their, with the data, they try to connect to their experiences and their aspirations, and with their experiences and aspirations, the organization try to innovate the product and the services. So the people, those who are engaged with the customer to learn their experience, to learn about their expectations, in that way, the 14% increase in likelihood happens to the workers to be the explorer. But from those 4, we can see that means the people, those who know most of the functional areas, those who can affiliate themselves to the organization because they understand the broad perspective of the organization, starting from the I can say that beginning up to the end, and they can learn about the social impact the institution is creating. They can affiliate themselves most to the organizational objective, and they become the explorer. Then while we talk about the passion, normally the passion has 3 attributes: emotion, commitment, and dedication for a particular purpose becomes the passion. And in Harvard Business Review, while I was going through, I found that how passion contributes for transforming the lives. And there, one study appealed me a lot when the Ray Dalio advises in his book of principles that make your passion and your work the same thing. If you are very much passionate for to be the singer, you make your work in the singing. You are very passionate to serve the people, you become a health worker. So he says that Ray Dalio says that, who is the owner of hedge fund, he's a billionaire. He believes that the dream is achievable so long as you can master two skills. One is creativity, one is flexibility. He says without passion, creation is never possible. If you are not passionate for a particular job, you can never think beyond of work. And if you can't think beyond the work, you can never create. If you are only the passion is existing, then only you can be creative, then only you can be flexible to create, to innovate. To have both the money, you need the job you want. You have to be creative and flexible. Another one study says that, which was done by Professor Bill Brunet and Dave Ivena, they say that the passion can be designed in your life. They say that if you are having a strong passion, you have to design this passion in your life in such a way that people will accept your passion and they will follow your passion. So he says that first of all, you learn your passion and get curious about your passion, your aspiration and your objective. Talk to the people about your passion, those who are in the peers itself, and learn that what is your strengths and weaknesses. You connect your strengths and weaknesses to that passion, talk to the people, and slowly while talking to the people, you analyze yourself. You analyze your passion, your strengths and weaknesses, and while talking to others, you also analyze their strengths and weaknesses and do the self-reflections. And when you are confident enough that your strengths enough to try to go ahead with your passion, then you tell your story to others. Normally, we see that in TED Talks, in different occasions, people talk about their story. And while we tell about our story, we become very proud of ourselves. And that prideness helps us to get connected for a particular purpose and gives us the ways that how we shall go ahead. As such, my story will be appreciated by others, will be accepted by others as I have planned, as I know. And till the moment, the people are not convinced about your story, that what plan you have made to follow your passion, till that moment, you repeat again. Go again, talk to the people, then make the self-reflections, again talk about, again make the plan, talk about your plan to the people, and till the moment the people are not fully convinced, you continue to do that. So if you are designing if you are interested to follow your passion whole through your life, you design your passion in such a way. And if you are doing it number of times, so for some people they may get success in the first time, but it's 99% sure that if you are repeating it again and again, maybe in 10th time or 20th time, everybody will get the success to get connected, to stay connected with their passion throughout their lives by making it as their work. Then normally when we talk about passion, there are 7 types of sentences that come to us. Some people are very true to them. That is their passion. Some people say that empowering others is my passion. Normally the people, those who come for healthcare system or education or NGOs or for some social, or they work for some social organization, they are having the passion to empower others and they derive happiness from that. And some people love to respect, some people make their passion to respect others. They say that respecting the other's knowledge, respecting others' potential, respecting others' skill is my passion. And such leaders normally they become little bit the introvert leaders. They make the networking among the workers. They respect everybody's skills and they try to get best out of them. And fourth is that some people say that they are passionate about their own decisions and responsibilities. They owe their own decisions and responsibilities, and they are very much proud about that. And such people normally it is seen in the surveys that such people go for the entrepreneurship. Those who are very much passionate about their own decision and responsibilities, they don't want to follow other decisions and responsibilities. Most of them go for the entrepreneurship or the professions that is not dependent on others. If they are going for the research, normally it's dependent on own capabilities. It is dependent on own prudence. So they go for that sort of job. And getting the autonomy in the workplace also is the passion of some people. They don't want to always want to get the interference from others. So their passion is that they are very much, they want to get the freedom in the workplace itself. And some people are very much interested to explore the truth, and some innovate the new, some are the passionate always to innovate the new idea. Recently we have seen that Larry Page has made Sundar Pichai the CEO of Google, and they have trying to do something else. That means such people, those entrepreneurs, they try to innovate throughout their world, throughout their life. That means their passion is to innovate the new ideas, execute that, and they get happiness through that itself. We find not many entrepreneurs in their early 40s, when they reach at the pinnacle of success in a particular idea, normally they leave that and they pursue the new ideas. That's because the innovating is their passion itself. And while we are at work, if we are very much passionate for their work itself, then work becomes our life. And when the OC becomes the passion, then it becomes the devotion. When the manager becomes passionate, they become the leaders. When a manager, the manager with the same knowledge, same aptitude, same skill, while he manages the people only as a routine job, he only remains as a manager. He just makes the survey of the work. He communicates the decision of the superiors to the people. He takes the work of his or her subordinates and communicate to the superior. He just does the job of the manager. When that manager does that job with passion, by understanding the objective of his contribution, by understanding the impact that his work is creating in the society, then he becomes leader. Then when a business we run for the money, that also just becomes a business. Every business is run for the profit itself. But when that business is done with the passion for a particular purpose, then it becomes a social driver. It becomes the example in the world for for different companies in the same field itself. Then passion creates a responsible system. When we tell that passion is emotion, it's faith, it's action, it's affiliation, it's devotion. For creating a responsible system which can impact the world, the passion is very much required. And for that, all the leaders in contemporary studies of leadership, they always mostly focus on emotions, the humanism, and compassion. And we all are experiencing that, those who are in education of business, commerce, management, or those who are working in different industries, in different position of manager, the executives, the leaders, those who are guiding the people, motivating the people, those who are managing the people. Now we all have slowly understood that emotion plays a crucial role, and the human behavior, the aspiration has a greater role in the work of a leader than the money. So in that at that point of time, while also yesterday also I was discussing with some people that in this pandemic time, this country, now India is in a better position, it's because of the good leadership we have got in this country. And slowly, if we analyze the strategic decision taken by government of India, the 27th of February, when WHO says that it's a international emergency, this is a health emergency, and now we can see that this disease may spread across the world. And after that, on 11th of March, WHO says that now it has spread to more than 100 countries, and they say that more and more countries may be affected and more people may be affected, and it will take the shape of a pandemic. And just after declaration of WHO, they had given the guidelines about the quarantine, they had given the guidelines about isolation, the social distancing, to keep away from that pandemic itself. And immediately after that, the government of India had taken the decision to have the Janta curfew all over the country on 22nd of March. Perhaps that was the first experience of the people of this country, that what really the Janta curfew happens. But slowly you see the strategic decisions taken by this government of India. After that, the long lockdown, around 30 days lockdown. After that, that was extended to 60 days, then 70 days, then it continued. But during this lockdown period, strategically, the government educated the whole 137 crores population, the citizen of this country, that what is the nature of this pandemic, how it spreads, what precautionary measures the people should take to save themselves from the effect of this pandemic. And after 7 days, after 70 days, slowly this lockdown has been opened. That means while taking the decision, not bothering about anything else, government was very much compassionate about the lives of the citizen of this country. And because of that, we have get the success in this. So thanks to all the listeners, the participants present here. Now I invite the questions from one and all, anyone and everyone. If you have any question, you can ask.
Ma'am,
Good
first
morning.
I would like to say thanks.
Thank you all for
Really,
listening to me.
it's a wonderful
It's not
presentation,
audible.
ma'am.
Can you be a little bit louder?
Ma'am, it's a wonderful presentation.
Unmute
Really,
Unmute.
this is very
Yes,
this is
sir.
very apt presentation at this pandemic time. Really, it's good, ma'am. Very happy to express my happiness.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much, ma'am. And I'm requesting on behalf of all the participants, please share the PPTs to all the participants, ma'am, please.
Sure, sir. Sure, sir.
PPTs, please. Thank you, ma'am.
Good evening,
Thank you
ma'am.
very much.
Good evening. Good evening, ma'am. Pradeep Kumar Chaurasia this side from Central Institute of Rajasthan. I'm a PhD research scholar. I have just completed my coursework only. Ma'am, somewhere I had this idea, whatever you were telling, I was thinking about this humanistic communication, right? So somewhere what this was the early curiosity I was having, and it was in line with whatever you told. So I want to just study in detail whether there is a research article, whatever you were telling this, whether there is a research article on this thing, so that
What do you say?
I'm saying that whatever you explained, have you written an article on this thing, so that I whatever is this model or whatever it is, I want to understand in detail all the aspects of it, whatever you told.
Yeah, within a week I will send you the writing on that.
Okay, thank you.
Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening, madam.
Good evening, ma'am.
Yes.
Good evening, ma'am.
Yeah.
My name is Ajay Kumar from Hyderabad.
Yes.
I have a question, ma'am, with regarding to the passion. You are referring to the passion, which
Yes.
includes emotion, faith, action, and devotion. And
Yes.
apart from this, one of the most thing is ethical values.
Yes.
As we are missing in the ethical values in today's scenario, nobody is bothered about. And one more thing, you were referring to the government India's new strategies, where one point I want to highlight. See,
Yes.
government has made some reforms.
Yes.
These reforms would be for the long-term perspective point of view. we want what are the present needs, what is required, whether it is suiting or not in the current scenario.
You see now this pandemic, perhaps this is a crisis for the century, and while the whole humanity at stake, and nobody knows that perhaps before 3 months nobody knew that how really the pandemic happens and how it affects to the humanity, what will be its effect on the global economic, social or the academic scenario, and what will be the result of the strategies taken by the leadership. Perhaps I think that even the scientists, the health workers, the big doctors, I have discussed with the eminent doctors in AIIMS New Delhi. They also, before 3 months, none of them are very much clear with whom I discussed that what will be the real effect of this pandemic after some time. So the leadership, while they took the decision, by analyzing the overall situation of the country and of the globe, whatever they felt correct during that time, that decision and strategy they have taken and they have implemented, and we all are seeing what is the result. And as you say that according to the present situation, some other decisions should be taken. Maybe they must be discussing about that, and maybe they will be taking some decision for the different issues we are facing because of this lockdown. Because any decision is taken today, we are doing in hit and trial. We are applying some strategies, and we are seeing that what result we are getting on this. And slowly whenever we are getting the good results, then strategy is getting slowly extended or being implemented in different places.
Thank you.
हेलो मैम.
Yeah.
गुड इवनिंग.
गुड इवनिंग.
हाँ, कैसे हैं आप?
ठीक है सर.
बहुत बढ़िया रहा मैम. एक्चुअली आपने एक नया आयाम दिया है लीडरशिप क्वालिटी के बारे में इस पैंडेमिक सिचुएशन में, और हम लोगों को एक नई टॉपिक दी है इस पूरे लेक्चर, 1 घंटे के लेक्चर में, कि हम लोग इस पर और कुछ सोचे कि जो पूरा का पूरा लीडरशिप जो अब ये पोस्ट कोविड जो हम लोग देख रहे हैं ग्लोबल वे में, चाहे वो इंडस्ट्रियल सेक्टर हो, पॉलिटिकल सेक्टर हो या सोशल सेक्टर हो, तो वहाँ आपके लेक्चर्स ने कई सारे क्लूज हम लोग को दिए हैं. थैंक यू सो मच. मैंने आपको पहले भी सुना है और बहुत कंसाइज वे में आपने बहुत अच्छे. थैंक यू मैम. थैंक यू सो मच.
Hello, ma'am.
Yeah, hello.
Good evening, ma'am.
Yeah, good evening.
So my name is Monu Rajak. I'm a student from Central University of Jharkhand, ma'am. Your presentation was very nice, and I have heard a lot about you from my kid friends. So my question to you was, like you said that we should choose our passion, and a passion contributes for transforming lives, right?
Yes.
But some people have passion, like the passion for dance, passion for singing, but the job opportunities or the future in that is not as great as it should be. So people are somewhere like demotivated. So what's your take on that? Please just let us know.
Yes. I say that the people are having different type of passion, and sometimes we see that when you are having a passion, suppose you are saying you are having passion for the dance and you want to make your career in dance, and while you talk about the career, we take different possibilities, and we take the opportunities, we also take the risk into account. Then we make the analysis between opportunities and risk. And if I am pursuing this passion, then what is the percentage of success? How many people follow the passion of dance, and what is the percentage of success in that particular profession? And if the percentage of success is 5% or 2% or 50%, whether I have equipped myself to reach up to that level. If I am well equipped, I can be a national and international dancer in that particular area itself, and my aspiration and it matches to the aspiration from my life, then I can pursue that passion as my profession. And if I find after that analysis of opportunities and risk that my capabilities, my aptitude, my skill in that area cannot match to the aspiration from my life, whatever I expect from my profession, it is not matching to that, then I may pursue some other area as my profession, and I can take my passion as an additional. And my profession, I can follow my passion jointly. But if anyone is taking passion as the core work, and I can explore the avenues and connect to that, and I can satisfy myself, my life aspiration to that, it is always the best option for a person. But if a person is not having sufficient capability to pursue that as a profession, then they can always take it as an add-on and pursue the passion in the profession itself till they don't equip themselves fully to or up to the requirement of the profession to be successful in that line. If you are pursuing the dance for maybe 5 years, 6 years, and passionately pursuing it for 10 years, but you have taken the education sector or the technology sector as your profession, maybe after 10 years, it is sufficient enough to be a good dancer or the director in that line itself. And when you are confident, you can leave the job and you can take your passion as the work itself. It's always what really you expect from your life.
Yes.
Good
Thank
afternoon,
you so
madam.
much.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, madam. I want to know that passion transform the manager into a leader.
Yes.
So who one is greater, manager or leader?
Sir, everybody in this world, they are having the particular position in the hierarchy, in the organization, in the society, in the life. And no one is competent enough to judge between the positions. Different positions are designed according to the skill, knowledge required from a particular position. And according to those knowledge, skill, and attributes, people are put in different positions and they pursue their own job. And while the people pursue their own job, and if they do something with commitment, and they connect their emotions to that, normally we have experience and the survey says that they excel in that. Because the data says, according to the survey, in India, around 15% women and 16% men, they leave the job because of the passion, because it does not match with their passion. But in one survey by, perhaps by Deloitte, in that document they had written, that 84.7% of the people in USA, they remain dissatisfied in the workplace because of the disconnect between their passion and their work. So according to that, for different position, different knowledge, skill, and different power, I cannot say, but according to the prevailing situation, according to the system we are following today, and the social recognition we are giving today, always the subordinates want to see a leadership character inside a manager itself. They expect that apart from doing the routine job, a manager should have the potential to drive the passion of the people he or she is managing. So bigger or smaller, I don't know, but I can only say the difference between the leader and the manager. Thank you. So no other question?
Good evening, madam.
Yes. Yeah.
Hello, madam. Actually, slides are very impressive. Kindly share the slides. And one question, madam, my side. What good leadership looks like during this pandemic?
Sir, during this pandemic, the people would like to see a leader who is having the good sense of humanism. They are compassionate for the people. And what I have understood, another one attribute the people are expecting from the leader, who should have the concern about the people and the society and the lives. And in different forums, it is being discussed that whether we should prefer the livelihood over the lives, while the life and livelihoods are the two sides of a coin. So during that particular position, I think that, but over and above, everybody is now interested to see a leader who is very much compassionate and concerned for the lives itself.
Thank you.
So thank you all. If you have any question, then you can send the mail to us, to Jyoti, where you are registering in the same mail ID. We shall give you the answer on that itself. So thank you all.
Thank you.
Ma'am,
Thank you, ma'am.
ma'am, can we get the PPT possible?
Yeah, I will tell Professor Jyoti to share the PPT follow.
Thank you,
I'll
ma'am.
share
Thank
the
you so
PPT.
much.
Thank you all.
Thank you, ma'am.